And so it was like this kind of moment where you realise like you're not alone. You realise that there are other people who are just as into whatever it is you're into as you are. Even maybe more obsessed than you are, which at the time I was quite surprised by. Hey, good morning. This is the Morning Walk, episode 107. Thanks for joining me for a little stroll. And I'm laughing because this is nuts, isn't it? It's just absolutely the most beautiful place. Where are we walking this morning? I'm going to tell you. Just enjoy this moment for a moment. You've got to check this out. Check out this playground. Holy moly. If that doesn't make you want to be a kid again, kind of nothing will. Oh, wow. Definitely coming back here later with my kids. It's not for them, but for me. I want to climb that thing. Feels funny to be in Airlie Beach after all these years. I've been hearing about this place from friends for years and years, even back when I was at uni. It's such a popular place for young people to come, either as backpackers, or just as travellers in general. Spring break, uni holidays. So to actually come here and see it, I can actually see what all the fuss is about. It's just such a magnificent place. And there on the high street with all the pubs and travel agents and things like that. Like, it really is backpackers and young person's heaven. And then there's me, here about 15 years too late. No regrets, better late than never, It's kind of great when you finally get to do something that you've been waiting to do for a long time. For me, the biggest thing was seeing Pearl Jam, my favourite band, live for the first time. I'd loved that band for like 5 or 6 or 7 years or something like that. And I was on exchange in the UK and saw that Pearl Jam were doing a tour, and they were going to be playing in Ireland. And so I jumped on a ferry and went over to Ireland to see them play. And I was so keen to be in the front row that I got to the venue at 8 a.m. in the morning for, like an 8 p.m. show or something like that. And I got there thinking that I would be the first person in line, and was shocked to actually find that there were probably like 30 or 40 other kids there waiting to go into the show already. And some of them had actually been sleeping overnight. And so it was like this kind of moment where you realise like you're not alone. You realise that there are other people who are just as into whatever it is you're into as you are. Even maybe more obsessed than you are, which at the time I was quite surprised by. And what was amazing about that experience was that I discovered this whole kind of culture, this whole community around that band that I wasn't aware of before. And it was extraordinary because those kids that I ended up spending that whole day with and going to see the show with ended up like convincing me to go and follow Pearl Jam on a trip around Europe. And so for the next couple of months, I actually went and saw a whole bunch of shows all over Europe. I got some great stories about that. But it all just came out of this burning desire to actually experience something for the first time. It totally lived up to expectations. Like, I'd made it onto the front row, saw the whole show. The lead singer, Eddie Vedder, actually jumped into the crowd, which apparently he never did anymore. But it was like this kind of quintessential, just as I expected it was going to be. It was that fucking awesome. It was definitely worth the wait. It's like some places that we visited on this trip around Australia have got the feeling of being timeless. Places like Uluru and Kings Canyon, or even once you get out into like the real outback places like Lorella Springs and the bush. I don't know, they're just places that will always be. Whether or not I'm there, you're there, humans are there at all, they will just be. They're like eternal. Maybe the best example of a place like that was Iguazu Falls in Argentina and Brazil. You go to Iguazu and you have this amazing water, like these waterfalls, kilometre long, just so much power. And it's kind of like it's always been there, and it will always be there. And then you come to a place like Airlie, and I'm not knocking Airlie, it's a beautiful town, but it kind of feels transient, It's quiet and transactional to some extent. And I guess it makes sense as well, because this is a place that you come through, party a bit, have some fun, but really you're coming here in order to go somewhere else, like jumping on a boat and heading out to the Whitsundays. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that kind of lack of permanence. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. More coffee. I guess it's good to have those things that we build up the anticipation for in our minds, you know, get super excited for. But maybe there's some danger in that too. You know, that you have such high expectations of a place or an activity that by the time you actually get there, it's kind of like a letdown. Whereas the reality is that there's so much beauty in the world and so many things just to get excited about when you just kind of look at it with fresh eyes. I don't know what I was expecting when I came to Airlie Beach, but it kind of wasn't this. You know, this amazing space, beautiful outdoor lagoon, funky little main street with lots of places to eat and cafes and stuff. And maybe it's like when you come in with some knowledge but with no expectation, that's when you can like make the most of it, because you get surprised and delighted. And life is awesome when you get delighted, isn't it? Anyway, it's been nice going for a walk around Airlie Beach. Thanks for joining me. It's always good to see you. I'll see you next time on the morning walk. Whatever you're getting up to today, make it a good one, because it's a beautiful day. I'm Rob Licky.